Hello everyone, and I want to welcome you to the Driver Trainer channel. The reason why I am creating this channel is to help drivers build real-world skills that make them safer, smarter, and more confident behind the wheel. There's a lot of driving content out there that you can watch, and I'm sure there's some good content out there, but I feel a lot of the content that's available lacks a lot of practical application. And my goal is to provide useful, realistic instruction and practical skills that you can use immediately to build real-world defensive driving habits. I also want to help you improve, not just pass a test at the DMV. So the goal here isn't just to talk about driving rules, it's to focus on practical habits and techniques that drivers can apply every single time they get behind the wheel. So you may ask, who is this channel for? This is for anybody, for new drivers, whether you're a teen driver or somebody getting their driver's license later in life, also experienced drivers wanting to improve, parents who are teaching their teenage drivers how to drive for the first time, fleet and commercial drivers, basically anyone who just wants to sharpen their driving skills. So whether you're a brand new driver, someone with years of experience, or responsible for training other drivers, this channel is designed to help you become more intentional and more capable behind the wheel. This week, I'm going to be dropping 5 separate videos that discuss 5 core defensive driving habits. Those 5 core driving habits include, number 1, looking far ahead. That's anticipating what's coming. Number 2, staying aware of your surroundings. That's understanding everything happening around your vehicle. Number 3, keeping your vision active. That's avoiding tunnel vision through continuous scanning. Number 4, maintaining space and options. That's giving yourself time and escape options. And number 5, communicating your intentions. That's making your actions clear to other drivers. In these 5-part series, I'm going to break down 5 essential habits that I listed off that can dramatically improve your safety and control on the road. So the question you may have is, why do these 5 topics matter? Well, that's because these skills work together. They build awareness, control, and confidence. They apply to all drivers. Also, these aren't random tips, they're connected skills that work together to help you anticipate problems and hazards, and they help you make better decisions. Now, in addition, I also plan to present other forms of driving content that will be helpful to all drivers, including safe driving topics. That involves defensive driving techniques, hazard recognition, weather-related driving, night driving, distracted driving prevention, as well as commercial vehicle awareness. And as this channel grows, I plan to be covering fleet vehicle operations that every driver should understand, as well as a vehicle maintenance series. So you don't want to miss those videos. The goal of the channel is simply this. I want to help people treat driving as a skill worth developing. I'd like to invite you to this journey as you follow the 5 video series, learn progressively, and build habits over time. If improving your driving skills matters to you, follow along through the series because each video builds upon each other. I'd like to thank you for being here. Welcome to the Driver Trainer channel, and let's start building the habits that make safer, smarter drivers. Now, before I end the video, I want to dive into a quick topic that all drivers can benefit from. We can't end the video right away without diving into something, so let's dive into that real quick. That is the annoying lights that are on your dashboard. Have you ever had the warning light pop up on your dashboard and had no idea whether to panic, pull over, or just keep driving? Maybe you've seen that pesky check engine light that illuminates all the time for some people and thought something is serious and, oh, my car might blow up. Well, folks, today I'm going to break all this down by color so you'll know exactly what your car is trying to tell you. Because every light has a common theme. So let's take a look at those colors. The first color you definitely need to be fully aware of is the red indicator light. That red light means stop immediately and take immediate action. In other words, red means serious or urgent. That represents a critical issue that could cause mechanical damage, loss of vehicle control, or even immediate safety risk. Common ones include the temperature lights. That means your engine is overheating and you definitely want to pull over immediately. Because the longer you let that go, the more damage you can do to your vehicle, including cracking the block if it's a cast iron block or warping the block if it's aluminum. Most engines are aluminum. So you definitely want to get pulled over ASAP and get that engine turned off immediately. If you go under the hood, do not remove the radiator cap, because if you do, that antifreeze slash coolant is going to be under extreme pressure that it can blow in your face and cause extreme scalding. So do not remove the radiator cap until the engine has had a chance to cool down. Ignoring this light can turn a minor cooling issue into a major catastrophic engine failure. That can cost you several $1,000s. So do not ignore that light. How about the oil pressure light? That's always going to be red. That means you need to shut that engine off as well because you may be low on oil. If it's not low on oil, you may have other issues such as a bad oil pump, and that will require a mechanic to repair. Because without proper oil pressure, your engine is going to starve of proper lubrication. So you do not want to ignore that. How about the brake warning light? Now, back in the days, on older vehicles, the brake light was a one-size-fits-all type of light that represented multiple things, including the parking brake being engaged. Most modern vehicles these days have a separate indicator for that, and it will say park, so people understand it's the parking brake. If that brake light comes on and it's not related to the parking brake, then you have other major problems, and that could be low brake fluid. You may possibly have a brake fluid leak, so you want to pull over safely and check the brake fluid under the hood. Let me throw this out here. Brake fluid is not a consumable item like gasoline is. Brake fluid should go nowhere. If you are low on brake fluid, it's going somewhere. Either it's leaking out through a line or it's leaking somewhere in the master cylinder. You will need to get that checked out. How about the battery light? Usually that's a representation that the alternator may not be working properly. If the engine is running and the alternator fails, that will probe that light. And basically what's happening is all the electricity your car requires to run is coming off of whatever the battery has available. Once that battery drains, you're basically out of luck until that battery's recharged. The best way to get a problem like that diagnosed is to go into your major auto parts stores like AutoZone, O'Reilly, Advanced Auto Parts. They usually will check that free of charge. So that's a good way to get your charging system checked out and verified. Now the seatbelt light is always going to be red. That just means your seatbelt's off. So basically click it or ticket. That's pretty self-explanatory. All right, let's talk about the yellow or amber warning light. That color just simply means caution. In other words, that particular light will need attention soon, but it's not critical. Like I said earlier about the check engine light, it comes on, most people panic, and they don't know what to do. If it's amber, the vehicle can often still be driven. Usually it means the issue needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. Now here are some common yellow or amber lights. Let's start with that pesky check engine light. That's the one everyone's like, yes, I want to know more about that. Well, here it is. Now the check engine light can be one of two states. It can be solid or flashing. If it is solid, it's a non-emergency issue. Usually it represents a code somewhere in the computer, and what you will need to do is get that scanned. Most of your discount auto parts stores can run a scan on your vehicle free of charge, but that's just a simple code scan to see what it's coming back as. Now, if it's something as simple as a loose fuel cap, you might be able to fix that and go on your merry way. Other codes, you may need further diagnostics. It's still good to get it checked out just to see where the problem is at. Some codes need to be addressed sooner rather than later. And there are some codes that are not as big of a deal unless you live in an area where they do emissions inspection. Then you'll need to get that fixed before your next emissions inspection cycle is due. Now, if it's flashing, some of the newer vehicles are using a red check engine light to represent a serious issue. If it's flashing, that's treated as a red check engine light. That's where you need to stop driving as soon as possible because something's happening, including possibly a serious engine misfire or other issues that could cause serious damage to your vehicle. So basically, a flashing check engine light is your car yelling at you, not whispering. All right, let's go into the rest of the amber lights. How about the ABS warning light? That means your anti-lock braking system is not functioning because it has a code, and it will most likely be disabled. In other words, it's going to drive like the old school vehicles that never had ABS braking, meaning if you're in slippery conditions, you'll need to pump the brakes. Now, do watch that light if you're pumping the brakes, because if that ABS light goes out, that means your system has resumed normal operation. You want to quit pumping the brakes and use the brakes like normal. Now, ABS is a nice thing to have. You don't have to get it fixed if you don't want to, as long as it's just a regular personal vehicle and not a commercial motor vehicle. If it's a commercial motor vehicle, you are required by federal law to have that working. It's not an out-of-service violation. It will be a DOT violation that will put points on your CSA scores. So if you do operate a commercial motor vehicle, that's a vehicle over 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating, you do want to get that fixed as soon as possible so you don't get caught with a violation on that. Regular vehicles, it's your choice. The tire pressure monitoring system light, or the TPMS light, that just means your tire pressure is low. You just want to get out there and check your tires and get them reinflated. Most vehicles have on the message center, that little digital display on your dashboard, as you scroll through it, will show you what the pressure is of each tires. I know there's a few vehicles out there that aren't showing that, not too many, but almost every vehicle has it where it will show you the exact tire pressure of each tire. Now that may not be accurate if you're always rotating your tires, so don't rely on that to be 100% accurate as far as the positioning. I would definitely get a tire pressure gauge and check all 4 tires. Fuel warning light, we all know what that means. It just means find a gas station right away or you're going to be walking. So in other words, yellow just means investigate soon. How about green warning lights? Well, technically, they are not warning lights. A lot of people do panic on certain green lights that they think is a warning of something, but green just means everything is operating normal. Simply put, it means all systems go. It's informing you that something is active, and it's okay to have it active. For instance, your turn signal indicators are always green. They should be flashing green when your turn signal is on, because they should be on when you are turning. Now, when you're not turning, they need to be off. Also, your cruise control light is going to be green. Also, if you have a vehicle with different modes like sport mode, eco mode, normal mode, you put it in eco mode and the eco mode light shows up, that's green. That's definitely a positive thing because that means big oil is going to get less of your money than what they want to get. And most of the modern vehicles have a headlight indicator light that represents that your headlights are on. Same with the fog lights. That's an all systems go thing. Then there is the blue indicator light. The blue indicator light is a heads-up light that's putting you on notice that you have something on. It's equivalent to the green, except it's putting you on notice of something you definitely need to be aware of. In all vehicles, it's going to be the high beam indicator light. The reason for that is because when car manufacturers decided to standardize the coloring, the only indicator light that was ever blue was the high beam indicator. It was designed to stand out to let drivers know that you have your high beams on. That's all that color represents. Now I'm hearing that some vehicles, I've not seen this personally, but I've heard that some vehicles now have a coolant warning light that represents the engine is cold and goes off once it reaches optimal temperature. Personally, I think that's kind of unnecessary, but I guess it is what it is. So to sum it up, blue just means be aware. Well, folks, I'm excited you can be with me for this journey, and be on the lookout tomorrow for our first video that I'm going to drop. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share these videos with everybody you can, because we want to get the message out there. So have a great day and be safe out there. Thank you.